Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Covering both sides of the big issues with the analysis you trust on News Radio 1040 WHO.
Need to Know with Jeff Angelo is indeed the program. Well, I love to focus on your health because health is something that you really do have to pay attention to, think about, put into practice certain principles in order to keep yourself healthy. It doesn't happen just by accident. And I'm fascinated by this new study that says nearly 9 in 10 people think their diet is healthier than it really is. Rejoining me on the Newsmaker line, healthy living expert Jonathan Bailor is back. Jonathan, welcome back to Iowa Radio. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
So, Jonathan, how do people fool themselves into thinking that their diet is healthier than it really is?
Well, I don't think we're fooling ourselves. I think we have been effectively fooled by food marketers who tell us things like, hey, this sugar-saturated cereal is a good source of 13 vitamins and minerals. And I mean, technically, that's true. It is. But if I put a vitamin pill in a can of Mountain Dew, that doesn't make the Mountain Dew healthy.
So that you brought up like the sugar, Jonathan. What are the elements in foods that people need to be wary of, that they do need to understand that it has an impact on their health?
Honestly, at this point, it's really sugar. I mean, yes, we could talk about processed fats, and yes, we could talk about sodium, but the issue, it really is sugar, and how even if you think you're eating healthfully, things like fruit juice, cereal, any kind of sauce you buy at the store, pretty much sugar is everywhere.
So what is bad about sugar, Jonathan? I do hear a lot of talk about this, but in the end, why is it bad for us?
Sugar found in its natural form, say in fruit, fine, all good. We don't have an obesity epidemic because people are eating too many oranges.
Yeah.
The challenge we face are added sugars, and this is sugar that is put into ketchup, pasta sauce, cereal, for example. So not only does sugar cause a tremendous amount of hormonal problems in our body, but it doesn't fill us up. So we are consuming calories that are causing problems in our body, and we actually have research now that shows that it actually makes us hungrier. It actually stokes our appetite, so it's harming us, and it's setting us up to harm ourselves further in the future.
Jonathan's the author of a book called The Calorie Myth, How to Eat More, Exercise Less, Lose Weight, and Live Better. And Jonathan, I think really one of the biggest objections people have when they hear you and me talking about eating healthy is, it's not going to taste as good, Jonathan. You know, the food's going to be horrible. How do you disabuse people of that notion?
Unfortunately, this came as a byproduct of the low-fat movement, which essentially then ushered in the high-sugar movement, because you have to eat something. That's the important thing to keep in mind. With some of this, it's just, what the heck am I supposed to eat? Everything's bad for me. Well, that's not true. Food found directly in nature. A lot of the food a lot of us probably ate over the holiday weekend is in fact good for us, but we've been led to believe it's bad for us. So things you grill, that bacon and egg breakfast that grandma used to eat, these are fine for you. Natural fats are fine for you. The amount of salt you would add to food at your house is fine. It's the packaged and processed foods and the amounts and types of fat and salt in those foods that's problematic.
Jonathan, listeners can text me while you and I are talking, and one of my texters says, but isn't sugar better than artificial sweeteners? What do you think about that, Jonathan?
It's a little bit like the conversation around, is vaping better than smoking? They're both bad for you. They're both very bad for you. So it's unfortunately, I can't say either is good for you, and I can't say one is better than the other. Crack and cocaine are both very terrible substances. I don't recommend either, so I would recommend staying away from both.
I'll call that a win. Nobody made that recommendation today on the show. Healthy living expert Jonathan Bailor is the author of the book, The Calorie Myth, How to Eat More, Exercise Less, Lose Weight, and Live Better. Jonathan, thanks very much for joining me today.